The Creative Grove is a series of honest conversations with marketers, designers, and creatives about the work behind the work. On today's episode, I have Andrew as a guest. Hey, Andrew.
What's up?
And Andrew is a prolific photographer and videographer and specializes in the health and wellness space. So, Andrew, talk to me about how you got into photography and video in general.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Tim. First of all, I'll try to give the brief backstory. So it's funny because I remember getting an iPod Touch, fourth generation, way back in, I think like junior high or something. And I just remember my camera taking lots of photos and editing on ViscoCam. Tell me you remember ViscoCam,
Yep.
the A6 filter. I like remember the specific filter. So I remember just like loving being so interested in color and light and photography. Never thought of myself as like a photographer. I never really wanted to, the thought didn't cross my mind to ever buy a camera and start doing photography professionally, but it was probably like, I think it was like 2016 or 17. My dad had been doing photography at the time and he had done it professionally on the side on top of his job. And I got to shadow him a few times. He ended up asking me one random day, like, hey, Andrew, have you ever thought of saving up for a camera, like buying a professional, entry level camera? And I was like, no, thought about it for a week. And I decided, yeah, I want to get a camera. And he was shooting, I think, yeah, he was shooting Fujifilm at the time. And he recommended a camera to get. And I started saving up for it. And then maybe a few weeks later, he ended up buying me the camera I was about to buy. He bought it for me, and it was so sweet because like my mom's kind of like, "Are you sure he's going to use that, honey? Like it's a lot of money." And now 8 years later, I'm doing this full time, and he has said this. This is not from my mouth, but I've far surpassed him in skills. So thank you, Dad, if you're listening. If you ever listen to this, thank you, thank you, thank you. He's kind of gave me a good launching pad and a platform, which is crazy to think. I always love telling that part of my journey and how it started, and it was something I naturally think I had, and my dad kind of like called it out in me in a way, I would say, and didn't force me to do it. And now like absolutely love what I get to do. So that's I would say like the brief backstory of how I got into photography. I did college for 1 year, dropped out, and YouTube University is essentially YouTube and just doing it, trial and error, failing, learning, and have been a part of a lot of different, tried a lot of different niches and genres of photography, weddings, couples, family senior portraits, just all sorts of portraits, headshots, some corporate stuff like some food photography, and really realized that I love working with brands. So yeah, that was kind of the thing for me. I recognized like I love people. So I like that lifestyle aspect and I love shooting products. And so I was like, okay, lifestyle, like product photography really was it for me. And the health, wellness, fitness niche was really because I'm already like, I live that lifestyle. Like I'm a consumer of those products, that type of lifestyle. So for me, it was a no brainer. Like if I do kind of try to niche down into that space, it's a lot like I can add value to those brands because I'm already a consumer of those products and I live that
Yeah.
lifestyle. So like I know that mindset. I know what their audience wants because I am the audience in a sense.
Who are some of those YouTubers that you listen to or learn from regularly?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think now, present day, Danny Gewurz,
Yeah, he's great.
love Danny. His approach to filmmaking is really like down to earth, humble, but I mean you see his work and you're like, what the heck? This is crazy. And how simplified I think his approach is. He just gets the fundamentals and does it really well. And even like his storytelling style and the way he lights and colors is like inspirational for me. I really relate and like connect with that type of filmmaking. I don't connect with the like overly technical the people that like pixel peep, those kind of guys, like your
Yeah.
YouTube dad guys. I'm just like, that's just not me. It's interesting, but I don't really care as much. So Danny Gewurz is a big one. I remember Daniel Schiffer. Yeah, that was back in the day. Like I feel like around the pandemic. It's a really cool 120 frames a second, like speed ramp, all of those kind of shots. I remember being really interested in those and try to do that style myself. He was another one for a while, but man, I'm trying to think. There's a few other guys on YouTube. There's a guy named Blaze Vivar, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He's in Kansas City. He's a DP, and he does just great work. Similar to similar like feeling to Danny Gewurz. Very real.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Mark
his
Well.
last name. Yeah, I really loved his documentary style stuff. I've learned a lot from watching his videos and watching even like his critiques on other people's films. Are really he's given like so much value to I think the YouTube world. I mean, I've watched who hasn't watched Peter McKinnon back in the day?
Yeah.
Like I don't watch a lot of his stuff anymore, but he's an interesting one. I'm probably missing some guys, but honestly, like I would say those are the main guys that I consistently watch. I would say honestly, it's probably Danny Gewirtz at this point. Because you can get sucked in that rabbit hole of YouTubers
Yeah.
and feel so like stuck or behind because you're just constantly consuming stuff. So try
Consuming
to
and
limit it.
comparing.
Yeah.
It can be so like, oh man, I'll never be this good. Like
Yeah.
especially like looking at like someone like Mark Bone is like he's so aspirational to me. I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
he's doing exactly what I would really like to do. The documentary style
Mm,
stuff, but he's also really approachable. He's like shooting on FX6. I'm like, that's not crazy. You
yeah.
can get another $5,000 or $6,000 to get one. And anyway, but yeah, I don't know if you watched Mango Street. I
Oh
don't.
my gosh, wait. Mango Street. That sounds so familiar. I feel like Mango Street. That let me just like I'm just gonna do a quick search here. Mango Street. Yeah, Mango Street. If this is who I'm thinking of. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, I used to watch him a lot. That back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many, and that's the good thing about YouTube. Like, there's so many really skilled photographers and videographers and cinematographers on the space that you can learn so much from.
Oh my gosh, that's a throwback. Sorry, that's fun. You brought up the name. Like, wow, I used to watch them a lot. Definitely for a lot of photography stuff. I really like that
Yeah,
approach and them as people. Their personalities are like not your stereotypical YouTube. There's another guy, PD Mokri. He's like a DP from Dallas, gaffer and DP. He has like a 1 ton grip van, and he just does like behind the scenes breakdowns. They're like not crazy high production behind the scenes videos. It's just him with like a mic on his headband, and he just like talks through his set. It's actually they're really educational. I learn a lot. I love like the behind the scenes. So he's another really cool one for just learning how to light stuff. It's really fascinating. We love
so
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, it's crazy that it's free. Or at least that the people post on YouTube for free, and it's mutually beneficial. They get AdSense, or at the very least, they get recognition from people, and
Yeah.
and then we get obviously free knowledge. So, kind of going into your photography, what camera were you shooting on that first one?
Yeah, so I Fujifilm X-T20. They're like their flagship cameras are the XT, like
Three.
XT1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
and they're making the 6, I think. And my dad had the XT2, and he bought
Okay.
me the XT20, which is I think is essentially the younger brother version of the XT2. It's
Yeah.
85, 90% of it definitely significantly cheaper, a little smaller body, and I like that camera. It was great. It's a fun little camera. And yeah, I think it had some decent video capabilities, but I wasn't doing video on it at the time. Just photography is what I started with for the first probably year and a half or two in 2017.
So how did you actually get into the professional space for
Yeah.
photography?
Yeah, that was I think I started doing well for fun. I would just grab my friends and shoot. We'd just do portraits and like downtown and out and about. We'd have fun all the time, which I loved. And I fell in love with it and like would bring in my photos into Lightroom and just like obsess over color grading and learning as much as I can. And I think it was probably doing a few different like senior portrait shoots and then I got it asked to second shoot a wedding a few hours from my hometown and ended up doing a good like over the years 10 or 15 weddings with this gal who just started a wedding photography business at the time, and that was really fun actually. That I think I learned a lot doing weddings. I know now that I don't want to do them full time. I do a
Yeah.
couple a year for friends and family. That's kind of my rule. It doesn't feel like work. It's just fun documenting. So that's where I think I discovered my love for more of that documentary style. It's in a way there's high pressure because it's like you get one chance, but there's not. You don't have to stage anything. You just
Yeah.
document a
Yeah.
fly on the wall, and I love that getting to see those in between moments, and you get to share them with the couples, and then they're just like they're floored, they're amazed, like this is so awesome, and I do actually enjoy that. So I did started with that, and then I think yeah, a couple years into it, I got an opportunity through right just friends. It's just always like mutual friends, random people that usually it's like they don't have a ton of budget and they probably hit up a professional established company that's 10 times too much and they're like, oh, you should talk to this guy. He just got into doing video. And so had a guy reach out to me. It was like a custom homes company, and we did a couple ads for like Facebook and like they lived on their website kind of deal. And yeah, it was my first time doing video, and I was so nervous. I remember watching tons of YouTube videos and trying to figure out how to do the lighting well, and audio was the big thing. I just had no clue what I was doing, and I look back at them; they're actually not as bad as I thought, but the audio is bad, which makes it just seem like low quality. But that was my first intro into video, and then yeah, there's a whole journey I could digress into, but that I would say that's kind of how I that was my start into the professional side of things.
Yeah. So at what point did you go full time with what you're doing?
Yeah, here, this will be good. I can give more of the story. So 2019, I met this dude. We became good friends, and he had an idea to start this video company. Like essentially, we just did a lot of reels, basically like short form vertical video ad stuff, kind of for a lot of mid-size businesses. And we did that for about a year. COVID hit 2020, and I was living at my parents'. I was unemployed. The company kind of stayed afloat. And then out of that, we were like on lockdown for 3 months. It was like maybe June or July when that kind of like lifted. We still were doing stuff for a while, but I think it was like that fall. That company, Rapid Render was the name of the company, joined with another company in town, Advest Marketing, and we merged. And out of that was birthed Trend Z. So Trend Z was past tense, it's changed now, but was a TikTok marketing agency. So that kind of merged, and I was one of the co-founders and doing all of the creative. So like we would we would work with a lot of D2C brands. Olipop was one of our clients, which is so fun. I
Cool.
got free
Yeah.
Olipop. If you go to the TikTok, you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see me in there. So I was like mass producing and shooting TikTok, iPhone videos, Olipop, Everyman Jack, Athletic Brewing, companies like that. And it was really fun, and I loved my team, but I did that for a couple of years and just got burned out. I was just doing so much, and did that for a couple of years. And all throughout that time, I was still freelancing, just a lot of word of mouth referrals. Didn't really have a plan. I didn't have a business plan. I just knew like I love creating stuff and telling stories. I'm a crazy young 20 some year old with the camera, and I'm good at it, but I don't know the business side of things. And so that was kind of like all throughout the years has like paid the bills. There's a few other like random things I did through my own like freelance business, like trying to start other businesses, and just funny because I didn't go to school for it, and I don't think of myself as a entrepreneur or like a businessman. My dream has never been to just scale businesses. I'm the technician. I want to create, I'm the artist. I love if I could just shoot and edit all day, happy man, honestly. And like and do some of the client stuff. Like I love working with people and like the client process and experience. So anyways, left that company in about the summer of 22, and then it was I think that fall of September or something of 2022 I joined a coaching program through Paul Weaver, freelance photographer. Shout out Paul. He's the man. And that really helped me gain a lot of confidence and clarity. That's what helped me niche down. That's when I really decided my the work is good. It's just confusing. I started to realize I want to work with brands. I want to work with brands in the health, wellness, fitness space. And so I started repositioning myself as that. It's kind of uncomfortable for a while and hard to like commit and make that decision, but I'm glad I did. I started doing, I feel like during that season, I did a lot of spec work that aligned with health, wellness, fitness, a lot of free shoots and like learned how to pitch that to those brands, learn how to pitch to other people, did a lot of brand research and outreach, did a lot of learn how to like do discovery calls and sales calls. So I did a lot of mock sales discovery calls and grew in that side of things, got some more systems into place with my business. So I feel like that was a really good foundational piece starting to like get solidified as a business owner, figure out what I want to do a bit more, get more of a direction and some confidence and build
Yeah.
up my portfolio so that it would align with like what I actually say that I do. And so I did that for about a year. And then let me think.
Well, let me
Yeah,
stop you right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So with niching down, that's something I think probably every creative and especially creative entrepreneur struggles with, you know, because you feel like, well, I don't want to put myself in a box. I don't want to
Uh-huh.
be able to have to turn down work because I don't know if it's that like famine mentality where it's like,
Uh,
well, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I would say it's
yeah.
probably even a stumbling problem that we have, which is we want to probably niche down at some point in the future, even with the type of work that we do. But it's just you don't know which one you want to niche down into. So I think
Uh,
it's almost like this act of discovery that you have to go through. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened with you, that you were able to discover, like you uncovered, like, oh, actually, I like this, and this is what I want to really focus my time on.
yeah. Yeah. So it's a weird thing. I think a lot of people in a perfect world would want to, but there is that fear of, I guess, FOMO in a way. It's like fear of missing out initially because you kind of have to take steps back to go forward. And that's kind of what I experienced. I'm like, well, yeah, I will probably initially for a year or so, I don't know, like miss out on projects I normally could just take, like random one-off things that are kind of just, I don't know, random. And That's not bad. I know a lot of people they love that. I have a buddy who does great work and he doesn't have a set like industry or niche. He has a definitely a specific look to his work, which is great. And he does a lot of like reels, like short form reels, like simple B-roll and does them well for companies, but there's no like set niche. And so that's like and I think I got maybe a bit married to that too, the whole idea of like niche down. I have to be so like in this lane and I can't do anything else. And I think if people can understand the what's the benefit of niching down, I think that's what we got to like hone in on. I think it was Paul when I did the freelance photographer he gave the analogy of a restaurant, like, and he correlated he correlated it with niching down. He said like, imagine you go into a restaurant, maybe this is my analogy, I don't even know, I'm just thinking out loud. Imagine you go into like a buffet, like just an American buffet, and you're like, or earlier that night, you're like, man, I just want some good sushi. And you go into a buffet and they have sushi and they have pizza and they have like every single cuisine. They got Mexican food and stuff. The sushi's not going to be that good. Even if objectively it is really good, you're subconsciously, you're just going to think, it's like whatever, because they have like,
Yeah.
they're jack of all trades. They do everything. But if you go to a sushi restaurant, yeah, the sushi, I mean, in all reality, it's probably going to be much better. But even if it's not objectively, if you did a side by side, the buffet versus the sushi restaurant, and you think the buffet is actually better, you're still like, just like psychologically, you're gonna want to go to the sushi restaurant. You're gonna say, oh wow, well they like specialize in just sushi, so like yeah, they do it better. Before even tasting it, that's how our brains work. So if you think of that with niching down, like it positions you as such a way that you can be a specialist in this set field, and it does help qualify leads better too. It helps you do that. I think if you can get more clear with like what you do, who you serve, that can be an advantage. But in a way, yeah, you could miss out on different kinds of work. So that's kind of what I've experienced, and I'm totally down to doing other niches, other projects if it's one off. But I'm not gonna go like hardcore searching for like every type of work
Sure.
now. So I don't know if that makes sense. That's something I've
Yeah.
just thought about, like a kind of an analogy. It's jack of all trades versus being a specialist. It's kind of
Yeah.
my
I
idea.
mean, with specialists, you're just going to get the extra attention that
Yeah.
a jack of all trades, not that they're not capable of doing, but just that
Uh,
they probably can't do just because of the amount of work, the other kind of work that they're doing.
yeah.
And so you're talking about with Paul Weaver's his coaching program. Can you talk about what did that entail and how like beneficial was that for you?
Yeah. It was honestly, I'm trying to remember like how everything was structured. It's been a few years since I did the program. I think the some of the big things for me that were really helpful was the community aspect. There was a lot of like-minded people, so that's just like huge in our industry. If you're doing it alone, man, it's so discouraging. You just get in your head. So having people to within the program, then outside of like, I kind of made my own like sub community of people, and we would in our own time would just set up mock discovery calls and like talk through problems we're having and share wins. And so it was cool because I think he did a really good job with that because the community already, without him encouraging or telling us to, made other little pods and communities, which is really really sweet. So I think that was a huge aspect, the collaboration, the community aspect of it, sharing work, having a place where there's no one's gatekeeping anything. It's just like we're trying to help each other all grow. It's really beneficial. And I think at the end of the day, the one-on-one mentorship with him, the coaching was the most beneficial. To be able to have access to hop on a call or DM him very specific pointed questions is like really, really beneficial. Because you can like, yeah, you can go on YouTube and search through tons of different YouTubers and find similar advice, but there's something so much more valuable about like a personalized solution to your very specific problem. To have him listen and like understand what you're wrestling with and then give you a very personalized like action plan, basically like, oh, here's what I'm hearing, here's what I think you should do. Try these two things and let me know how it goes. So nice. So there's that accountability aspect was another big thing. And then he was always putting out new curriculum. I think it was like twice or once a week there was like a call with a specific focus, kind of like a topic. Then we have a lot of Q&A time, and the program's probably changed now, but he would like save those calls so we can go back and watch them, and then always adding new resources like really good proposal templates or Canva pitch decks or even like contracts templates, which can save you like literally hundreds of dollars. Like you've got like professional ones that are approved and like whatnot, like all that kind of stuff. So that was really helpful. And I use a lot of those templates, and we called it like the toolbox. So I have lots of that stuff that it's fun looking back now. I use, there's just a ton of stuff I do that I don't even think I realize that are like ingrained in me because of the program I did. So shout out to Paul, plug the TFP. It's really helpful. I think overall, to sum it up, it's not a place to learn the technical, like the creative side. It's to grow your business, like as a
Yeah.
freelancer. So it really helped me on the business side of things, give me a great foundation, and honestly, just like learn how to ask good questions on discovery calls too. I think was a big one. Made me a lot more confident.
Yeah. So you go through this coaching. Were you already doing this full time professionally before that?
Yeah, I think that's when I just started to try to like go full time was when I did that program. I think it was September of 2022. Yeah, it was when I did it. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm going full time. But then actually, I didn't even mention I did that, and then my wife and I, well, now wife, at the time we were engaged. We got married December 27th of 22, and we went off grid for 3 months on missions, did missions work basically for 3 months, and then got back in April. So I kind of put a pause on everything from December to April, and then yeah, came back, and then I was officially like, all right, let's hit the ground running.
So you're full time. You do this coaching program. What has the business changed these past few years for you? 2022, 23 till 25. What are the biggest differences and the biggest changes that have been beneficial for you that you've made?
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think of timeline wise. It was last year. I guess that would have been fall of 2023. I think I had like wrapped up. I just had like dipped out of the program for that full year, and so that fall through like early 2024. Then yeah, that was I was like applying a lot of what I learned and just trying to niche down. Like I said, it's kind of like you got to take some steps back to go forward, basically. And I was like committed. I'm like, okay, I got my systems down. I'm doing my outreach. I'm gonna do all these things, spec work and pitch it. It was a tough few months, especially like that January, the new year, January through March probably was, I don't even think I had a project actually. It was tough. So I was doing a lot of like trying to build my business and work on the business, but those are pretty discouraging months because I'm like, I am at my optimal, I'm my sweet golden zone or whatever is, yeah, when I'm shooting and editing, when I'm creating stuff. So that was kind of tough, just feeling like, am I doing anything? I'm just going stir crazy here. So that was actually really difficult last year. And come May of last year, I got an opportunity, and it was a total answer to prayer. It was just like such a blessing. I got an opportunity to be contracted out through a local marketing agency. Their old videographer left. They wanted just to hire a freelancer. Saw a job opening on LinkedIn. Someone tagged me, and I didn't even know this was a thing. Submitted my resume in like April, and then heard back in May, and they were like, "You're the guy." Like we looked through a whole bunch of others. Like, when do you want to start? And that was really awesome. So I did that for 6 months. And that was a lot of just like corporate type stuff, so testimonials, kind of like brand story, recruitment videos for the company, like promo type stuff like that. But I came to find that I really do enjoy doing that, more that type of content compared to a lot of what I was doing and trying to do, like lifestyle product photography, which I love. So I came to like discover I actually really do enjoy doing this and really getting to do, that type of stuff is a bit longer form when you're doing the like 3 minute brand film. Actually, I enjoy those, getting to meet people, work with them, help flesh out a story for their brand, because I know how impactful those are when done well, are like the foundation, I think, of kind of like of your marketing and of your brand. Oh, did a lot of those, and I got to use that now to build kind of a different side of my business and portfolio. So now this year, when was it? Yeah, beginning of this year, I invested in 12-month another coaching program. I came to realize like I just need mentorship. I don't think it's something we ever graduate from, and I need the community. I don't want to go stir crazy and feel alone. So I came to realize like, okay, I need some help, some like more help and direction. I think the way I described it was I need help, like help channeling this like passion, this energy, this gift into the right direction. I need like a direction that'll that'll give me more clarity and confidence. So did this program. It's a 12-month thing. I'm still in it. And it's not a video course by any means. It's not a creative course. I'm the only creative in there. But it's a Donald Miller like Business Made Simple, if you're familiar. The coach is
Yeah.
like Business Made Simple certified. And I actually love the principles are just so solid. And I think it's all across the board. It's every single business, everyone I'm going to work with. it's really good foundational stuff, and it's so simple. And I feel like now that I'm applying what I'm learning, it's definitely helping me get more confidence and clarity. And I'm learning, like I built out a whole nother basically side of my business now. So I'm still doing like the health, wellness, fitness brands, but leveraging a lot of this other work I did for local businesses. And essentially I'm using that to pitch to a lot of local companies. And that's where I'm still like, I don't have a necessarily a niche. Sure, health, wellness, fitness is ideal, but
Yeah.
I'm just really wanting to help a lot of these local businesses tell their brand story and create, like, just give them a good, if anything, give them a good foundation and help take time off, help save them time and stress, because there's a lot of people that want to be investing in video but just like don't have time, and they try to do it and then it kind of sucks and they get frustrated, or they pay some like kid out of college who's not professional and then they get burned. And so I've been like having a lot of conversations with people now, a lot of local business owners, and trying to like understand and dive into that market a bit more, doing brand story films, testimonials, promo stuff, that kind of in that kind of realm is what I've been doing.
So what are some of those principles that you've been applying from Business Made Simple? Like
Mm,
what are those systems that you have been really helping you as well?
yeah. Some of the big things, or I guess he Donald Miller talks about like different, he gives the analogy of like your business is like an airplane and there's different wings of your business. You got marketing, you got sales, you got your products and services, yada yada yada. There's like 5 different areas. And one of the big ones I've been diving into is email marketing. Because right, I've been on Instagram. I've been on Instagram for 8 years. I've been on LinkedIn for the past 2 or 3 years, which has been clutch. You know this. This is how we met. Whoever's listening to this, get on LinkedIn, especially if you're a creative, if you're in this space, like the decision makers live on LinkedIn. Don't waste all your time on
Yeah,
Instagram. That's my
for real.
opinion.
Yep.
So LinkedIn, like I know how to do this. I'm like, I know how to make good content, but we're renting that space. All this could crash tomorrow. And if we don't have solid email marketing, like email, you own that and you get other people's emails. Like that's statistically has always been the most effective, most cost effective, and I don't think it's going to change. So I've kind of realized I've slept on that, and I've known that statistic for a few years, but it's overwhelming. It's a whole new thing. I'm like, how do I do this? But it's all the same principles. Nothing's crazy. So that's really what I've been working on, is getting my email marketing down and building an email list and learning how to run automations and different sequences. And I mean, there's just like a whole bunch to it. It's a whole new world. So that's been challenging but fun, seeing some growth in that, and learning how to make lead magnets to then get people's email and then get them on those sequences. But I think one of the really beneficial things I've done is gone through the like brand, I think it's called like story brand framework or whatever. It's doing it for myself. I'm taking, like, I'm going through this hero's journey. It's like any good story you think of, where when I'm speaking to people, I'm the guide, they are the hero, and it's all basic stuff, right? I'm agitating the problem a lot so they realize, oh yeah, yeah, he knows, wow, it's like he knows my problems. So there's that relatability, create that empathy and that connection, and then you essentially provide the solution to their problem in a simple call to action in like a very simple nutshell. So learning to do that and I'm telling a story and doing that on my website, and then using that in my marketing copy, my email stuff on LinkedIn, and just making that narrative kind of the same all throughout is what I'm trying to do. So it's cohesive and consistent and the same all across, right, all my different channels and platforms. So I'm trying to get as many touch points as I can when it comes to marketing. And yeah, I think that's a big area I've begun to tackle, and it's been kind of fun. I don't know, learning in that side of things, but it's made me on that note too. I think the other thing, the even more important thing, is learning, like, really addressing what are my priorities, and then how to, based off of that, reverse engineer. So block off my time based off of that, and then it helps you set better boundaries and not feel like you're just running around with your head cut off and just doing tons of tasks with no direction, and you feel like I'm not doing anything. So that used to be a big struggle I had, but I just feel I keep saying it, but I feel more grounded, more confident, more like I have more clarity in what I'm doing, and it's more purposeful. And I don't feel bad about just saying no to things, and I can be like, yeah, I don't need to do that. It's just not gonna, it doesn't align with my priorities or my goal right now. So that's been a really huge one at like I think at a mental level, a heart level.
Yeah, so for maybe younger creatives, younger photographers, what are some of the most important lessons you've learned these past few years that if you could just bottle those up and say, "Here, you're going to need this advice," what would that be?
I just touched on it, but figure out your priorities. like your why. I made a video about this. Like what is your why for, if we're just talking business, like what's your why for what you do? If you get that down, just like 3 bullet points, then you can, that kind of aligns with your, I mean, your mission, your priorities are similar. Then you can reverse engineer, air quotes, and work backwards. So then, okay, what are my goals based off of that? My stuff, my why. And then you just kind of keep breaking it down, and then you can break it down to a week by week, a day by day kind of thing. You know, what are the beats, the things I need to be doing every week? What are, based off of that, what are the habits? You know, you just kind of break it down. It's something I think people kind of know. It's not rocket science, but it's just a matter of knowing it versus doing it, and like taking steps to actually doing that. Because when you get that clarity, it's really key, and it helps you stay organized, not waste your time, and like be aimless. I think that's probably one of the biggest things I would say, not just for your business or your work, your career, but your life in general, because your work is not your life. We should work to make a living, not live to work. Don't buy this American. I don't buy this American. The new American dream is just to like, for some people, it's like work, 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 or at least in the entrepreneurial like business culture hustle. Like we
Yeah,
take pride in that. We work so much. I'm like, I don't know. I want to work too to make enough money to have what I, just my needs met, my food, clothing, shelter, and provide for my family. It's like we can get that down and be content in that. I think to me, that's like what matters. So I
totally.
would
Yeah,
say
I
that's yeah.
definitely I definitely agree with that. I think there is a good side to hustling, not but not it should never be because I think people treat it as like the never-ending sprint
Mm-hmm.
that you just have to keep sprinting.
Bingo. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there are seasons where you will sprint, but there will be
Yeah.
seasons where you're jogging or when you're taking rest. And I think that, I think when you're younger, if you're single, I'm like, of course, sprint, I would say
Yeah.
enjoy your youth, but also you have so much time. I'm like, you're going to run out of it sooner than you think. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
don't waste your youth just because you think, oh, well, I'll get to this stuff later. I'm like, no, I wish I could have been able, I wish I was where I am at now back
Mm-hmm.
then, because I'm like, all right, well, I would have been in a much better place today. I would have been able to buy my family a home today or whatever if I had been able to. But, I'm grateful for my experiences. I know it led me to this very moment, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
there's a mixture, that it's not all one or the other. It's not all because I think that people can go the other way, because people can be so lazy, where they don't want to really work hard at all, and they
Yeah.
only want to spend time just chilling and being with people. And like our lives are meant for us to work, but also our lives are meant for us to work for our family and for the things that we love. And work doesn't have to be divorced from our family either,
Yeah.
And I think that your home, all this stuff is so deeply interconnected, at least it should be. And for us, like we're doing something that we really care about, we really value. And even
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, in theory, that's something that you were so moved to do because you wanted to solve a problem or sell a product or something that you resonated with enough. And so yeah, I would say like and that kind of goes back to your why. Like the why behind what you do, I think part of it is family, but why photography as opposed to anything else, like, and I think that if we go like 5 layers deep even into that, like what are the whys behind, like, I mean, let me ask you, like, what are the whys for you to do the work that you're doing?
Yeah. Yes, I was gonna say. I was already gonna say. If you didn't ask me, I was gonna tell the people. But I think it's such a, for me, it's such a simple one. The why for like photography, I just love it. And I always tell people, in a perfect world, if money weren't a thing, I didn't have to worry about money or anything. I would love just taking photos of people, documenting life, taking photos of strangers, and I do that. And I haven't done it in a while. I used to have a pretty good practice of going out like in the neighborhood or downtown and talking to strangers, taking photos of people. I would sometimes just be like, "Hey, I'm just on a photo walk. Could I take a photo of you?" And sometimes they're like, "No," but most of the time people are like, "Yeah, sure, that's cool." And then strike up a conversation and get to know them and take a few photos and like in their environment, in their element. And then I'll follow up with, "Okay, can I get your email? I'd love to send you these." And I might never see the person again, but that is like at the core, that's me, like to make them, to highlight other people and to help them feel, to see their like inherent value, their God-given value, and just beauty, I think is like such a win for me. And I just love it. Like I mentioned this earlier, the way that light works and color works in different focal lengths, how different field of view can tell a different story and give it a different feeling and emotion. I just all of those, I could go nerdy with that, but inherently, it just like I am intrinsically motivated in that way. I don't need external, I don't need like money to take photos. I just do it. Like I got thousands and thousands of just so much stuff documented that I love for myself that, you know, the internet doesn't see and doesn't need to see. So that's like I think at the core, I just genuinely like it's a gift from God that I enjoy so much. Like I enjoy a good cup of hot coffee, like a nice fresh Chemex in the morning, like those things. So that's probably the biggest one. And like I said, I'm not there's I know people that are business minded. They're like, I want to like change the world and help people with this, and like my camera can do that. And sure, in a way, but and they might be more minded like that, and they're like, oh, I just so happen to be a photographer. But I'm like, I'm the photographer, I'm the artist, the storyteller. So I really care about the craft. I think is the big thing. With that being said, though, I've come to realize you have to be like, unless you're like a Vincent Van Gogh, like you know, no one cares about your work. They don't. I'm just a guy with the camera. There's people that are way better than me, way better creatives than me, you know, whatever. But I've kind of had to drop the artist ego thing and be like, okay, I'm a business owner, and I have come to really enjoy doing business and just building relationships with people. I think that's the other thing is I love getting to build relationships with people and honestly break down the like business facade, like professional and blah 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 blah, that jargon. I'm just like not that kind of person. So I just like I love getting to yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but I just at the core I would say this. Like I really want to reach people with the gospel ultimately. Like being that I love the Lord, love Jesus, like I want to be able to help people know Jesus. And what a cool opportunity I get to do that through yes, like through the creativity he's giving me and like reflecting him in that and just doing it with utmost excellence. And I want to have a really good work ethic, and I do pride myself in communication and not just over delivering and over communicating with people to just like love and respect them and care for them, but like to just like have those candid conversations with clients because they're just people. Like they're not just a number. I'm not just trying to get money from them. I'm like, hey, let's
No.
grab coffee and let's just like hang out. Let's chat. Like, what do you think about the Bible? What do you think about Jesus? You know, so that's like a huge at the core. That's like a under everything. That's like my deeper why. It's like reaching people with the gospel of Jesus and the love of God. So that's like my deep heartbeat, and it's really cool that I get to do something I really love, and I can genuinely help people and like help mission driven brands, people that want to tell their story. I can help bring that to life and save them stress and save them money because I know what that's like. I get it. It's like really fulfilling to help take care of people and then give them the greatest news ever ultimately. Yeah.
What have been your most fulfilling like projects you've worked on these past few years? Are there some standouts to you that you've really
Yeah.
loved working on?
I would say, funny enough, I think a lot of the spec shoots I've done have been my favorite. I know a lot of people say spec work is your best work, and honestly,
Well,
I
passion
kind of
projects
would
are always gonna.
agree. Yeah, yeah, like passion, whatever passion spec, they're fun because there's no like time constraint. There's no client breathing down your neck. There's not that pressure. So sometimes when there's less pressure, you just perform better in a way. But I'm pulling it up here just to jog my memory. I would say favorite spec shoot I did, which was 2 summers ago, was for Half Day Iced Tea. I don't know if you've heard of them. They do like gut healthy probiotic iced tea. It's like low sugar. It tastes like Arizona iced tea. It's really good. But actually better, I would say. Arizona iced tea is like thick and syrupy and kind of weird. But anyways, besides the point, they're really fun, like nostalgic, vintage feeling brand. And that's actually I found them and that's what caught my attention. And so I did some research on them and did a whole spec shoot, passion project and treated them as if they were one of my clients. And the cool, quick backstory is that I pitched it to them. It caught their attention. That landed an actual shoot with them. And this spec shoot to this day has gotten so much like attention from other brands that I reach out to. A lot of times people will reference this shoot. They're like, we want to do something just like this. So it's really cool how this, I didn't really expect anything of it, but it it landed me the biggest shoot I've done to this day, which I would say is probably my favorite shoot I've done. This was just a couple weeks ago. Spec shoot landed me a shoot with another beverage brand, and it was a 13-hour day in studio. We built out three different sets with like cloud backdrop, a night sky backdrop, artificial turf, beach sand, like tons of props and fruit. And I mean, technically there was 5 locations, if I'm being honest, because we broke for lunch. We did some photos at the restaurant, which is a really cool place. And then we took some, the 5th location was like 20 minutes at the end of the day outside. So it was a full day, but it was really cool. So that's probably been my recent favorite one. And I'm working on the full length behind the scenes for it. And there's just
Nice.
tons of content for them and for my own brand as well. So really excited about that one. And the client like loved it. They loved the finished product, and they already have other products they're coming out with and they want more content for. So
It's
that's really
awesome.
exciting for me. That's been definitely a big win, I think, in my journey.
So how do you approach spec work? Like what's that process for creating spec work?
Yeah, I would say I'm right. I'm making sure it aligns with my why, with my kind of my niche industry. And typically I'll research different brands like half day. I just found them on Instagram. I did this last year, a year and a half ago. I would take a day, a few hours on a Wednesday or whatever, 3 or 4 hours, and kind of use that as like research, just researching new brands, put them in my Notion page and organize all of that, try to find their email and do research on them. And it stood out to me. I was like, this is a really cool brand. Like there was just that feeling. I'm like, oh, this is sick. I felt like I connected with them. And at the time I was doing more spec work because I'm like, I need to do that. You got to make the work. You got to make it happen. You can't just like expect people to show up at your doorstep. So I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
I'm just going to make a whole campaign for them and send it to them. And I got their attention. Like, if you think, imagine if someone made a whole like brand film for you or something for you as a creative, you'd be like, and it's on brand and you're just like, what the heck? Okay, let's connect. Let's talk. Yeah. So I did that
So you did
and
research, and then
research.
what did that research turn into?
Yeah. Basically like I got a whole list. I like a template I have, and I just got good questions, blah blah blah, to kind of vet them. Like, would this even be a good fit? Like, I don't want to waste my time. I was like, yeah, I think this would be worthwhile doing a shoot and like pitching it to them. And if nothing happens with that brand, I can pitch it to other brands that are similar, that have a similar feel or vibe or whatever. And so I went to the store and I went to Target. I bought some of the product. I tried it. Right, it's like this is actually really good. Like I actually like the product, which is great. If the brand you don't give a rip about, it's like maybe don't work with them. And so then yeah, I just treated it like it was an actual client. So I created a mood board. I started to flesh out the concept, kind of made the brief, gathered some props, found a couple talent, reached out to them. I briefed them on the shoot. We got the wardrobe situated. We got location. We shot at a skate park in the summer, which was great. So we didn't need any extra lights or stuff. And got some pizza, got the cooler, got the drinks and the ice. And then we made a big shoot out of it. It was probably like a 5, 6 hours. We got a whole bunch of lifestyle images and then a 30-second spot ad and then a reel or two, I think, something like that. And yeah, it was really fun. My buddy captured a whole bunch of behind the scenes. So I have link in the bio. Just kidding. But I do have a whole like 10-minute kind of behind the scenes mic'd up video, which is really
Cool.
fun. So yeah,
And so everyone, I'm assuming, volunteered for free to do that, or
I paid them. I lost a bit, but I didn't. I saw it as such a
yeah, yeah,
worthwhile investment.
yeah.
Spend several $100s buying the product and the pizza and the whatnot. I lost a bit initially. I really didn't. It's just all that to say. It's just like, man, do that thing. If you got that idea, if you're unsure about it, like just go for it. But don't break the bank doing it. You don't have to like do anything completely
Yeah.
crazy. But if you can, and if you're in a season where your work is slow, client work is slow, I'm always of the idea of just doing spec work. And for me, it helps me creatively and just mentally. So I'm not just like twiddling my thumbs and I have all these ideas and I don't do anything. So that's something I'm already planning for. I got a few different concepts I'd love to do when work gets slower. Usually in the winter months, it's just a bit slower. I'm trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I think that, for creatives, if you don't have the work, if you don't have like, these like the work that it's almost like the advice that people always say is like dress for the job you want.
Yes, exactly.
And so you have to create the work and show off the work that you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, I think that kind of goes into what you're saying about the spec work. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, you got to be confident and just treat it like I said, treat it like it's your own client. And you don't have to go like, I know some people do. You don't have to necessarily say like this is spec work for so and so. Like
Yeah,
whether you do or not, people don't care. Like, just the decision maker at whatever brand doesn't give a rip. They want to see the work, and if it's really good and catch their attention, they're going to be like, "Oh, let's chat." You don't need to convince them of why they need video. The head of marketing, they know why, they know what they want, but they want to see like, okay, this guy's stuff is legit. And then if you already have more social proof of you online, if you're good at marketing yourself and you can create that like trust with the client before even hopping on a call, that's definitely another win. So that's something I've been trying to do.
So how are you preparing for these photo shoots with these clients?
Like pre-pro, are you saying? Pre-production? Yeah. I guess with this one, yeah, I'll give the example with this recent shoot I did. Big shoot, full day. Never done something like this before, actually. We're gonna do it in a day and a half, but yeah, the thing is like I'm wearing a lot of hats. I'm not just camera operator, I'm producer, director, editor, fire putter outer, all business, all the things. And so you gotta get good at pre-production. I think pre-production's half of the battle, if not more. Honestly, I would say 60%. And yeah, especially as there's more logistics, you really have to spend a lot of time on the front end. And so I've learned that to really be thorough with your game plan. So for this big shoot I did, I'm trying to think, yeah, we had quite a few pre-production calls. There was a lot of product involved, so we had to make sure I had to make sure I understood the product, and he sent over a shot list. We went through the whole shot list, and I started to then once we had our like kind of vision and yeah, the vibe, the vision, I started building out a mood board and started creating wardrobe based off of the different kind of scenes I came up with. And I don't know, it's kind of a dance of just figuring out here's our shot list. Let's build out different looks. These flavors go here. It's kind of a back and forth, a dance, I would say, with this project in particular. And then also with wardrobe. AI is amazing. I use ChatGPT to like I explained everything and it's based off of this, create 4 different scenes and that kind of helped give a good starting point, a good visual
Yeah.
before we even shot. And I was like, give me a lighting breakdown of how I could do this. And so I leveraged AI a good bit, which I think everyone should be using. Those creatives use those tools well. Uh, and and then yeah, like creating once you really start getting all the pieces together, creating a call sheet with all the details, all the logistics for the location, the talents numbers, my number, different roles and expectations and outfits and whatnot, and communicating that with the client, communicating that with your talent, with any other crew members, and then day of you can feel so much more prepared and not stressed. Like I mean, there's so many details I could talk for 20 minutes. I'm making like I said, a full breakdown uh that people can see and you'll get to like understand what I'm trying to explain. And it'll help me to remember what all that goes into it because it's a lot. So all I can say is just like pre-production is key. Do your pre-production. Don't cut corners and just try to wing everything. You can for some shoots, but for bigger shoots, there's no way.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this before, but you said that, you want to work to live. Talk about like your kind of work-life balance and, has it always been good? Has it gotten better or
Mm,
worse? Or,
yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, work to live, not live to work. I think when I was younger, not in a relationship, so I wasn't married and didn't have baby, I had a lot more time in my hands. And
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you said. Like, yeah, you're just gonna have more capacity. Just go for it. Spend more time. You have more capacity to work and do more, which is great for a season. So, but I would say back then, 3, 4 years ago, whatever, I definitely didn't have, I think part of it was I didn't know my why as much. I didn't have as good of priorities and boundaries. So I did get more burned out and maybe felt a bit more aimless, hence why the burnout. I was doing things, but not what I really should be focusing on. And so I don't think I really ever had a, it's hard because it's like, what's my reference point? I could compare myself to other people, but I would say even back then, like compared to general society, like I feel like I've had a pretty good work-life balance. I've seen people that have gotten burned out. Even my dad, I've tried to learn from him. He was hospitalized for like having like a weird anxiety, like palpitations from just doing way too much. He's not an anxious man, but I've learned from that and from my mom. Like I've tried to learn from people that are years and years ahead of me and just learn from their mistakes and go, I don't think I should do that then. I shouldn't take on that extra project. It's probably gonna burn me out, so I'm just gonna say no for now. But I had to learn the hard way. It's 2021. I did way too much. I was doing like 4 business things and had to cut out 2 of them, and it was hard conversations with people that I cared about. But I'm so glad I learned that lesson because I was getting like there was some weeks where I felt low key like depressed, which I'm not a depressed person. I'm very joyful and positive and hopeful. But I was just burned out. And I thought like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have motivation? Why am I just like, just like staring at the screen like a zombie? I was doing way too much. And so I learned that lesson. I've learned what my limitations are. And now I think now fast forward that I'm married and I have a kid. 4-month-old. Shout out to you, Joy. The best. Our daughter's the best. So that's a whole new thing. That's a whole podcast. Yeah, having a baby, having a wife changes priorities and changes my why. And I think that has really helped me these past 4 months. It's like put a good amount of like healthy pressure, I would say, and
Yeah.
has helped me cut out stuff. It's like when you have less free time, when you have less leisure time and time in general, you really start to ask yourself, like, what matters to me? What's valuable? And then based off of that, based off my conviction, my why, my priorities, okay, how can I live my life? Let's look at my calendar. Where am I spending my time? So I think that's helped me more. Though I have more responsibility, I feel healthier than I've ever been. And I think my work-life balance is probably better than it's ever been. Though I am in a busier season with client work, I've just realized like, okay, stuff has to shift around and priorities will change a bit within work, but still trying to end work at around 4. So I'm 8 to 4. And there's even flexibility with that, which is nice. Working at home
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I can have time just to shut off work and just be with the family and friends and whatnot. So it's a journey, man. We're always learning,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
constantly,
definitely.
not doing it perfectly.
So any kind of closing thoughts that you have about photography, video, your your business and doing this full time?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think something that I didn't mention, it's a mindset thing when working with brands, businesses. Let's just say like, I mean, yeah, just in general, as creatives, videographer, photographer, whatever, it's easy to get into that feast or famine mindset, that like poverty mindset, so to say, and thinking that like there's not enough work, and you feel like you have to compete. But in all reality, like statistically, that's not true. Brands and businesses need us. There is actually not enough creatives to help all the businesses and brands in the world. So I think it's just a mindset shift I need to be constantly reminded of when you feel like, why don't I want to have this work. I want more consistency. I want this, to remember like actually no, there is, brands and businesses do need you, and it's just a matter of, I think with all of this, even with like landing work, it's a matter of reps and the long game. Reach out to as many people as you can that fit within, right, that are within like your why, your priorities, your niche, that makes sense, and don't get so discouraged quickly, because I had a time where I was just like, I felt kind of desperate, and I don't think I had the long the long haul mindset. So there's for example, there are brands and businesses connections I made 2, 3 years ago. Nothing, just radio silence, and then out of nowhere they're like, "Hey, we got like all these projects, we're ready." And I'm like, "Pff," and then they can turn into a retainer client. You're like, "What the heck?" And you're like, "Oh man, oh yeah, I had a convo. We had a couple conversations back when." So I think that's a huge one. I think another like just tip maybe I would give, advice for people, is for like past one-off clients, one-off shoots. So many of us sleep on those. Like we just do the project, we wrap it up, and we're like, okay, bye. But I think two things: get good at like offboarding people and having a feedback time, like get their honest thoughts. Yes, get the Google review, Facebook review, whatever. But I always like to do like a gallery reveal call if I'm doing photos, or just do a call and hear what their experience was, what they liked, what they didn't, how we can improve. And then always offer, I would say best case scenario, if you do shoot, this is just for me, but I always communicate, hey, I want to work with my clients on retainer. That's like a goal for my business. And you can explain why, like why retainer is great. And it's not always going to be a good fit for people, but I communicate that like I value long-term working relationships. So leave the door open. Don't just say bye and just don't say anything.
Yeah.
If you haven't done that, say it was 4 years ago, you did a project, like reach out to those past happy one-offs, hit them up, take them out for coffee or whatever, or and maybe give them something free, give them a freebie, some kind of like lead magnet thing. Like just ask them how they're doing and offer them, let them know like, hey, you're there, I'm here. Because you never know, like you're not pestering them, you're not annoying them. You would be surprised. There's a lot of people have done that with, and when I'm always hesitant sometimes to send that email. I'm like, maybe it's just being like, annoying, but there's a lot of people like, actually, thank you for reaching out. We've been wanting to reinvest in video or whatever. So do it. You gotta pest, quote unquote, pester people. You gotta let them know who you are and what you do, and that you want to help them. So I would say those are just some big things that came to mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. That's something I tell people all the time. Like, no one's gonna advocate for you. You have to do it
Nope.
yourself. Yeah. No one wants to advertise your business for you. It's something that we have to do ourselves,
Yeah.
and because no one else is motivated to grow our businesses, like us, because they don't have our why. They're not trying to provide
Yeah.
for our family. So
Yeah. We got the advantage too. We're the creative people. I think it's often hardest. We forget to like market ourselves and promote ourselves and build our brand because we're doing it for people.
yeah.
do that. The type of videos you're making for your clients, your brand films and stuff, like make that for yourself. Like people need to know like who you are and what you do and why you do it. And I'm preaching to myself. I've yet to actually make a legit like brand film. I have that throughout my social media. I think people get a good idea, but it's just kind of like I'm saying this so I can be held accountable to do that as well. We do it for other brands, but why not ourselves usually? So
Yeah, that's so true. No, thanks, Andrew, for
yeah, man.
coming on and talking about your experience. And I think I'm sure a lot of photographers and videographers will really relate to your story, but also hopefully they can gain some insight from your experiences as well.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I don't even know how, we're just mutual people and reaching out to me. You're in Lancaster, I'm in Fargo, North Dakota. And I just think it's cool. We have the ability to connect like this, do a
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, I hope this encourages someone, if whoever's listening. I know it encouraged me, and like I said, it reminds me sometimes when people ask us about our story and we share it, it helps us remember and actually be encouraged and reflect on like, wow, we've grown a lot.
Yeah.
That is my last point. Reflect on even just the past year, where you've come from in your growth. Don't just compare yourself against your ideals of where you want to be. You're just gonna be discouraged and feel behind.
Yeah.
But if you can be diligent and intentional to reflect on where you've come from, it's like, I don't know, it's such a perspective shift it'll encourage you and help you not get burned out and do this for the long run.
Yeah. That's so good.
That's what I got.
So where can people find you
Where can people find me? Yeah.
other than North Dakota?
Fargo, North Dakota. Don't come here in the winter. It's really cold. But I'm really active on LinkedIn. Just let me check. What is my thing? Is it just Andrew Stone? Yeah, Andrew Stone, photographer and videographer, health, wellness, fitness brand. So find me there, and then Instagram my handle is at AN as in Nelson, so AN Stone. I'm also on YouTube, Andrew Stone Photography. I started posting more there. There's a long form, that 30-minute behind the scenes breakdown is coming really soon, and I think it'll be a really fun one. So trying to post more on there. I'm on Facebook too, but whatever. Andrew Stone Photography, kind of on everything. Yeah, follow me, follow along. Hope I can encourage and inspire people. And I always tell people, just reach out. Like I don't have it all figured out. So I'd love to connect with you guys.
That's awesome. So thanks everyone for listening to The Creative Grove, a Brand Roots podcast segment. If you want to listen to more, you can find us on Apple and Spotify and our website at subroot.co. And we'll see you guys around. Thank you, Andrew.
Peace.